Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Nick Cosgrove and I'm back with this week's No Filter Q&A. This is the episode where I answer all questions related to diet, training, and supplementation that I received over the last 7 days from our in-house clients, online clients, as well as a few of our online followers. Remember, if you have any questions related to your nutritional plan, workout program, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me your questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can also DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. As a reminder, if you live here in Vancouver, British Columbia, we have Labor Day long weekend coming up this upcoming weekend, September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And as usual, every long weekend, we throw our Grizzly Grabbers on sale. So our Grizzly Grabbers usually sell for $45 a pair. Right now, for this long weekend, they will be selling for $40 a pair, or 2 pairs for $70 at $35 per pair. Grizzly Grabbers come in large and medium. If you want a pair, you can either DM me on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove, or you can email me, nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can just pick up a pair at the gym if you're downtown Vancouver, or if you're in Burnaby, we have grabbers at both locations. All right, so let's get started with this week's No Filter Q&A with question number 1. Hi, Nick, could you please explain why you perform skull crushers on an incline bench rather than a flat bench in your tricep training videos? Thanks. Yeah, so if you go to my online coaching app, I have videos for every single muscle group. And you'll notice if you look at the skull crushers videos, I only perform skull crushers on a low incline bench versus a flat bench. Now, most people perform their skull crushers, which is with an easy bar or a narrow straight bar on a flat bench. The reason I advise people not to do this is because you end up using more of your anterior deltoids to stabilize the weight. Okay, and that's actually very dangerous. It puts a lot of pressure, not just on the anterior deltoids, but on your rotator cuffs, okay? So if you do your skull crushers on a low incline, not a high incline, but a very low incline at about 140 degrees, you can actually retract your shoulder blades, taking them out of the equation, and you can isolate your triceps more effectively, okay? That's why I do that. You remember when you're training your arms, you have to be so careful. This goes for biceps as well. You don't want to recruit too much shoulder activation. You can't turn your shoulders off completely because your anterior deltoids and your medial deltoid and your posterior deltoid are going to stabilize any curl you do or any press down you perform in the gym. But if you can take the shoulders out of the equation as much as possible, the better the results you will get with your biceps and triceps. So in the case of skull crushers, I would advise you to always perform them on a low incline as opposed to a flat bench. Another thing I will tell you too is when you're doing skull crushers in the gym, I wouldn't start off with them, okay? I always recommend when you're training your arms to start off, especially your triceps, start off with some cable work first, just to release that synovial fluid in the elbows. And you'll notice too, as you get older, the joints get a little bit more stiff and take a little longer to warm up. So what I usually advise my clients to do is when they're doing their triceps to warm up with either some rope cable extensions or straight bar cable press downs, 3 or 4 sets, and that will usually be sufficient to get the elbows warmed up. So don't start with skull crushers, and if you're going to do them, perform them on a low incline, preferably an angle of about 140 degrees. Sorry, my Wi-Fi was burning out there. All right, and that should work. Okay. If you have any questions with regards to your training program, you can always email me at nick@foreverfitperformance.com. Join my online coaching app. It's available at the App Store under foreverfitperformance.com or Forever Fit Performance. All right, next question. Nick, if I'm working out with weights 4 times each week, would it be better to do 4 full body workouts, or should I do 2 upper body workouts and 2 lower body workouts? If you're training 4 times a week, I would not recommend doing full body workouts, okay? My recommendation would be to follow a training split. So I wouldn't even do 2 upper body or 2 lower body. What I would do is I would do a chest and back day, a shoulder and arm day, a leg and ab day, and then maybe the last day perform like a full body / cardio vascular workout together, right? So that to me would be sufficient for a 4-day split. If you train a muscle properly and you give it a lot of volume, you don't need to train it more than once a week, okay? I have a lot of people when they first come work with me. For example, I did an arm workout today with a new couple, and the woman's like, holy crap, this is a lot of sets for arms, 48 sets for arms. I'm like, right. But we're not going to touch the biceps and triceps again for another 7 days. So in that case, it's really not that much volume. Okay, so you have to think if you can stimulate the muscle, not annihilate the muscle, but stimulate the muscle and then rest it for 7 days, that's the most effective way to train, especially if you're natural. You're not enhanced. And by that, I mean you're not taking anabolic steroids. So if you're a natural athlete, your body doesn't have the ability to recover that quickly. So if you're squatting on a Monday and then you go back on a Thursday and squat again, chances are your legs are not going to be recovered enough to perform that second workout of squats. And you risk injury. You're going to not only risk injury, but you're actually going to set yourself back in results because your body's not recovered enough to grow. So I strongly advise you not to do 4 full body workouts or 2 upper body or 2 lower body. If you want to throw in 1 full body workout a week in addition to your split training, I have no problem with that. But as long as it's, like 1 exercise for your legs and maybe 1 exercise for your biceps and 1 for your triceps, 1 for your shoulders, 1 for your chest, 1 for your back. And as I said, throw in some cardiovascular conditioning as well. I don't see anything wrong with that. Okay. But I like the old school bodybuilding split. A lot of my clients that work with me follow 5-6 day training splits, and that could look like something like day 1 chest, day 2 back, day 3 shoulders, day 4 arms, day 5 legs, 6th day give your day off, or take a full body workout, right? So I find that works best for most people. But if you're training enhanced, yeah, you could probably get away with 2 or 3 workouts, full body workouts a week. But if you're natural like most people, it's not a good idea. Your body just doesn't have the ability to recover in time. All right. Okay. Hi, Nick. Will lifting weights alone help me get rid of my gut? Or do I need to add in cardio each day as well? Well, it depends how big your gut is. So if you have a lot of weight to lose, I would advise you to do resistance training in combination with cardiovascular exercise. And of course, diet. You've got to make sure your diet's in check. That's key. But let's say your diet is in check, okay? And you have somewhat of a substantial gut. Weight training will help bring that gut down because, as I've mentioned numerous times on the channel, the more muscle you have, the more calories your body burns in a rested state. So I've said it before that I strongly believe resistance training to be the most effective tool when it comes to fat burning, more so than cardiovascular training, okay? But that doesn't mean that you don't do cardiovascular training. You should be doing some cardiovascular training, not just for aesthetics and to lose body fat, but for your overall heart health. And it doesn't have to be running on a treadmill for 45 minutes to an hour. It could just be something like a speed walk outside for half an hour, 20 minutes consistently, right? My cardio is walking to and from my gym. It's about a 20-minute walk, but I do it at a fast pace. I do it twice a day, sometimes 4 times a day. So that's my cardio. I don't use a treadmill. But weight training will definitely help bring your gut down. Again, how much, it depends on how big that gut is, because if you're someone who's very overweight, I would advise you to be doing a combination of cardiovascular exercise at least 3 to 4 times a week, 20, 30 minutes a day, in addition to weight training. Okay. And of course, diet is crucial. I say this over and over again. It's so important to have your diet in check when you are looking for either a weight loss or muscle gaining plan. Or if you're just trying to perform at optimal levels in the gym, if you're following a shitty diet, it's not going to help. Okay. I notice myself, if I miss 2 meals, let's say I'm on a Saturday, I go out to a restaurant, I miss a meal, I get a really bad sleep, I'm not hydrated. I notice the next day that my workout suffers right away. And that's not with any alcohol. That's just from diet and sleep. So if my diet is not on track, it affects the workout the next day. So you want to make sure to perform at optimal levels. You want to lose body fat, build muscle, your diet has to be in check. Okay. And as a reminder, if you need help with your diet, I help tons of people with my online coaching app, available on the App Store, and I'm always willing to help you. I do all types of diets. I do diets from carbohydrates, macronutrient rotations. So I do low carb diets. I even throw in a few keto diets every once in a while. I work with people who do intermittent fasting. So I never say no to any diet plan as long as it makes sense for the person I'm working with. Okay. So you have to customize the plan for you. So diet, cardio, weight training, all 3, if your goal is to lose fat, build muscle, and perform in the gym at optimal levels. All right. Next question. Hi, Nick. Can you please tell me what the difference between your OneTime program versus your 8 and 12-week programs are? So if you're referring to my online nutritional plan and training programs, essentially a OneTime program design is I take in all your information. So there's a few questions I ask, such as a 3-day diet log from you, foods you're allergic to, foods that you can't you don't like, you dislike, or you can't digest them properly. So there's a few some information I need from you first. Once I have that, I put together a diet plan that's customized specifically for you. Now, if you decide that you just want that one-time plan and you're going to follow it on your own, you're going to make your own adjustments and revisions from a week-to-week basis, that's a one-time plan. If you decide that you'd like me to make those revisions based on your weekly results, that's where it's an 8 or 12-week program. So essentially, each week you send me your weekly check-ins. For all my online clients, I ask for bi-weekly check-ins. So every Tuesday and Fridays for my Canadian clients, and every Monday and Thursday for my American clients. And then I make changes, revisions off your results. So that's really the main difference. Some people just want a one-time plan, like, you know what, I'm good. I can follow this plan. It's easy, it's simple, and I'll make adjustments along the way. But there's other people that like me to work with them for a longer period of time. I have quite a few clients that work with me year-round on their diets. They're like, I don't trust myself, you do it. So they send me their check-ins on Tuesday, Fridays, for example, and I make changes based on their results, okay? Sometimes I don't make any changes. Sometimes like, no, this week's good, we're gonna leave it alone, we're not gonna make any changes. But I usually make a few changes because I believe it's crucial to focus on macronutrient rotation. Even if I'm working with someone who's doing intermittent fasting, even if I'm working with someone who's doing a ketosis diet for a period of time, I will still rotate their fats and protein. So that's the main difference. With a one-time plan, it's a one-time setup. Of course, I'll make revisions for the first week or two based on how the person's feeling. There might be some foods he or she cannot digest properly. But if it's a 8 to 12 week plan, I'm with that person for 8 to 12 weeks, which includes unlimited questions, answers to all your questions, access to all my training videos, all my nutritional plans that I put out there. And yeah, you have me as your coach for 8 to 12 weeks. So that's the main difference. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. Do you have any advice that you regret giving on diet and training over the years? Oh, that's a good question. Any advice I regret giving? There's one thing I regret giving is generic advice and not customizing programs for people properly. And that was in my first few years of working as a personal trainer. I would listen to generic advice from the so-called fitness professionals, and I would just repeat it to my clients. I would never question it. I just like, oh, that must be right, so I'm just going to repeat it. I remember when I first broke into the industry, I used to tell all my morning clients, you have to eat before you train with me. And it was like, I would tell every single client they have to eat before they train with me. And what happened was I was getting people who were getting ill on the floor because their bodies, their digestive tract was not digesting the food fast enough. So I have a client come in and see me at 6 a.m. By 6:15, he or she would be throwing up in the bathroom because I said, you have to eat before you come and see me. So what I found over the years is it's important to customize your advice for the individual you are working with. So I have a lot of morning clients who don't eat anything before they come work with me, and they train way better. Okay, but again, I was always told you have to eat before you train. Not true. Same with the whole, you have to have a post-workout shake after your workout. Bullshit. Money for the supplement companies. There's no science backing that. Your body doesn't digest protein faster in liquid form than it does in solid form. But when I first broke into the industry, that's something I used to tell my clients because it was something that I was told. So I started questioning all this generic advice when I started noticing that everyday people were not getting results that I wanted them to get from this advice. So that's what I regret giving. Generic advice and not customizing programs and protocols for the people I'm working with. I can work with 2 people and give them 2 completely different leg workouts, right? Based on their genetics, based on their physical limitations, based on their lifestyle, based on their goals. I'm not just going to have everyone get into the squat rack because this barbell back squat is the best exercise for your legs. Not true for everyone. Okay. So I regret that. And it's something I learned over the years. I was an inexperienced coach, trainer. I'd only been working in the industry for 2-3 years. And it took me some time to build the confidence to start questioning these generic training tips or nutritional plans that were being put out for the masses to follow. So that's what I regret. For the most part, though, I like to think I give pretty solid advice. If I don't know something, I'll just tell someone I don't know it. I'm not going to make it up and say that I do, because first of all, that's unprofessional and it's dangerous. But I'd like to think that if I know the answer and it's for the person I'm working with, and I answer it to the best of my ability, given the facts that I'm given about the person. If it's someone I've been working with for a long time, like 2 or 3 years, and I know their body very well, I will just give them what I feel is the best protocol to follow. Okay. And I'm not always right. And that's one thing too, is that over the years, I've learned to accept the fact that I'm not always right. I make mistakes, and I'll even call myself on the mistakes. There are times on the floor where I'll just say to the person, you know what, that's not the right exercise for you, and I've been giving it to you. I'm going to make that change. Same with my online coaching app. There's times I'll put a diet together for someone. This diet that I thought was going to work is not working, so I'm going to change it. I change it. So, you make mistakes, you learn from those mistakes, hopefully, but it's very important when you are working with anyone that you customize, especially in this industry, you customize the program for them, you customize the nutritional plan for them, and you base it off your client's goals, physical limitations, genetics, gender, age. All these come into place when you're really trying to focus on giving your client the optimal results. Okay, so that's my main regret, not customizing programs properly and giving generic advice in my first few years of coaching. Okay. Hi, Nick, you mentioned how it's important to only lose fat and not muscle when dieting, but how do I know if I'm losing only fat or muscle? It's pretty simple. So if you're losing weight on the scale and you're losing strength in the gym, there's a very good chance that you're losing muscle. And as I've said before, it's easy to lose weight. Anyone can lose weight. I could get you down 3-4 pounds a week, no problem. You go into a caloric deficit, you perform hours of cardio, you'll lose weight. But what you won't lose is just fat. You're going to lose fat, muscle, and water. And I mentioned that last week on the channel. So good rule of thumb, if you're dieting, whether you're getting ready for a special event or you're getting ready for a bodybuilding show, fitness competition, an upcoming fight, if your strength is going down dramatically in the gym, there is a very good chance you're losing muscle. Actually, I put money on it. You're losing muscle. Now, if you're into the depths of a really extreme diet, like I've been working with a few fighters getting ready for fights, and what's happening now is, we're getting into a very low caloric deficit because they have to make a certain weight. Yeah, their strength is going down a little bit right now. That's normal. But if you're someone who's just looking to lose, like say 15-20 pounds and bring your body fat down, if you're a guy, say 12 or 10%, or if you're a woman to 18 to 16%, you shouldn't be in such a severe caloric deficit where you're losing strength to be able to do that. What I'm referring to are the people who are bringing their body fats down to, let's say, a bodybuilding show where the bodybuilder needs to be at 3% body fat. Those last 2 or 3 weeks, most bodybuilders tend to lose a little bit of strength, right? And that's normal. But for the average person who just needs to bring their body fat down, like I said, 10-12% for men, 16-18% for women, there's no reason that you should be in such a severe caloric deficit to be able to get your body down to those percentages. So therefore, you should not be losing strength in the gym. So if you're losing strength in the gym and you're on diet, I guarantee you, I promise you, you're losing muscle. You might be losing some fat too, but you are losing muscle. So you always want to make sure that your strength stays the same or even continues to go up while you're losing body fat. You might not lose the weight as fast on the scale, but you can guarantee that you're losing fat and not muscle. All right. Next question. Nick, why do so many people get injured from lifting weights? I don't know if so many people get injured from lifting weights, but in my opinion, most people who do get injured are either A, lifting too heavy, B, lifting with their ego, 3, lifting without full range of motion. And overall, see, their form is terrible. That's the number of, like, the 4 things I see with people in the gym when they get injured, right? So the one thing I always tell people is and this goes for people who are experienced too. I see the biggest mistake I see from experienced lifters is they don't warm up properly. They go right to heavy weights. They might do on a chest day, they might go in and just do a warm up with the bar and then throw some weight on. But then on their next exercise, they immediately go into, like, say 80-pound dumbbells for chest press. I'm like, it's a new exercise, it's a new angle, so therefore you have to warm up again with a new weight. And doing that warm-up set is not going to take anything away from your results or your training. If anything, it's going to add to it because now the muscle bellies are warmed up sufficiently and you'll be able to recruit more muscle fibers to stimulate muscle growth. Okay, so lifting too heavy too early is another big mistake I see. Like I said, not using full range of motion. I see a lot of guys and women in the gym, they're doing squats, for example, and they're not going all the way or at least parallel to the floor down in their squats. And what's happening is they're just putting more tension on their knees and their hips and less pressure on their muscle bellies. That's where they get injured, right? So that's another reason, not using full range of motion. Shitty form. I see this all the time. Like I said, there's tenants in my building that share the gym with us, and I see them come down. They don't have a trainer, and I cringe when I see some of the exercises they're doing. So I'm like, you're going to blow out your back. You're going to blow out your knee. You're going to crank your neck. You're going to dislocate your shoulder. And it's just because they haven't been taught and are not willing to learn how to do the exercise correctly. So that's another reason why people get injured. Now, I don't know what the numbers are of people getting injured. I don't know if it's that many people, but from the people I've seen over the years who typically do get injured from weightlifting, it's usually for those reasons. Okay. I mean, accidents do happen. You could be doing everything right. You could be doing perfect form, perfect technique, perfect execution on a exercise, and all of a sudden your hand slips, you lose your stance, you lose your balance, and you get injured. That does happen too. But for the most part, most people who are really paying attention to what's going on in the gym and with their body and trying to create that strong mind to muscle connection don't get injured. I mean, knock on wood, I've been doing this for 23, 24 years. I've never had a serious injury. And I truly believe it's because I've always been in tune with my body. I listen to my body. I don't get distracted by emails, text messaging, YouTube videos. I'm focused between my sets. Okay, this is what I have to do. I visualize my next set. I visualize the exercise I'm going to do, the weight I'm going to push, and I get myself set up mentally for it. And I truly believe that's why I've never been injured. I've also had great training partners over the years that have been able to correct me when my form gets a little sloppy, because I can't watch myself on every single exercise. There's some movements I don't know if I'm doing them correctly. So it's good to have a good training partner or a personal trainer / coach that can give you a second set of eyes and give you some feedback and say, hey, I notice you're arching your back, or B, you're not going low enough, or C, you're using momentum, you're swinging. So it does help sometimes to have that second set of eyes too. But for those reasons, I truly believe that's why, again, I don't know if it's a lot of people, but people I've seen over the years get injured, it's usually for one of those 4 reasons. All right, next question. Hi, Nick. I can't seem to keep my strength and intensity consistent during my workouts. One day I will have an amazing workout, and then the very next day I feel weak and tired during my workout. Is there anything I should be doing in between my workouts to help me recover more quickly? Yes. Make sure that you are resting properly. And what I mean by that is that A, you're getting an adequate amount of sleep. So at least 6 hours, preferably 7 to 8. You're hydrating your body properly. So, for someone who's say 200 pounds, I recommend consuming at least 4 liters of water a day. And B, you're also making you're getting in all your macronutrients. So making sure that you're getting in good quality food. I've noticed, I just mentioned that earlier. One of the first questions is that if I don't get a good sleep, my workout is shit. Like if I sleep for like 3 or 4 hours, I really notice my workout suffers. If I miss 2 or 3 meals, I usually eat 9 to 10 meals a day. If I just miss 2 or 3 meals, that's how used my body is to being fed. 2 meals. The next day, my workout is shit. My strength is down. So I'd be looking at that. When you have a really good workout, and this is what I tell my clients, if you have a really good workout, try to duplicate the formula that you used prior to that workout, leading up to that workout. So if you have a really good workout on, let's say, a Monday morning, look back and say, okay, what did I do on Sunday? Did I get in all my meals? Did I get in my sleep? Did I get in all my water? The chances are you probably did. You did everything right. So you need to duplicate that formula. I mean, sometimes you can do everything right and you have a crappy workout. That happens too. And I tell clients there's no rhyme or reason for that. It just happens. But there's usually a paper trail. So if I notice one of my clients is doing a workout and he or she is not training with the same amount of intensity or lifting the same amount of poundage that they usually lift with, I'll ask them, how much sleep did you get last night? I'll ask them, did you miss any meals yesterday? These are things I want to know. And it's usually 1 or 2. It's usually the sleep or the food. Something's off. So if I have a client that's having a great workout, I'm like, wow, your strength is up, your intensity is good, you're not taking long in your rest periods. What did you do? And they'll tell me, well, I ate this, or I got this much sleep, or yesterday I had this meal. And I'm like, great, I need you to do that again before our next workout. And I always say, if you find a formula that works, stick with it. Same with a pre-workout meal. If you find a pre-workout, if you're someone who eats before you train, if you find that That meal helps get you through the workout. You can digest it easily. You have loads of energy. Your strength is good. Stick with that meal. Don't change up your meal. You know, you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time. You just want to make sure that you're keeping everything the same. And I know it gets boring for a lot of people, but if you want to get the best results, you want to train with the utmost intensity, you got to follow the formula that works for you. I've stuck with the same pre-workout meal, regardless what time of day I train at. I've stuck with the same pre-workout meal for 20 years because it works for me. I know it works for me. It works for my body. I have no problem digesting it. I have lots of energy afterwards. I know that meal works. So why change it? Right? I want to have good workouts. I keep my pre-workout meal the same. Regardless if I'm training at 6 in the morning or 6 o'clock at night, the pre-workout meal for me doesn't change. The pre-workout meal that I'm using, though, might not work for you. So it's important to find the meal that works best for you. And like I said, if you work out better in a fasted state, then do that. Okay? Because you know your body better than anyone else. And you just have to troubleshoot and find out what works best for your body. And then once you learn, keep that formula going until it stops working, if it stops working. Okay, next question. Hi, Nick. Why does my weight go up so high after a cheat meal? I eat super clean during the week, but as soon as I go out to a restaurant for a bowl of pasta and a few drinks, my weight is easily up 5 to 6 pounds the next day. I know this is mostly water weight, but it's annoying as I always feel bloated and look watery the next few days. Can I take a natural diuretic to help get rid of the water faster? Okay. So let's answer the first question. So this is something that's very common and more so with women than men. A lot of my female clients that work with me online on the nutritional plans, they'll have a cheat meal, let's say on a Saturday, and I'll usually ask them to send me their check-in on a Monday or Tuesday morning with their weight, and their weight's gone up 5 or 6 pounds, like in this person's case. For a lot of new clients, they do freak out a little bit because they're like, what happened? I'm like, well, nothing happened. You're just holding water. You're retaining water. You didn't put on 7 pounds or 6 pounds of fat in 2 days from one meal. Okay, that's really impossible. Remember, there's 3,500 calories in 1 pound. So if you think you'd have to consume a surplus of calories and not do anything to put, I don't even think it's physically possible to put on 5 to 6 pounds of fat or muscle in 2 days. Okay, so it's not fat. And the reason why your body is retaining fluid, and like I said, it's more common with women than men. It usually has a lot to do with estrogen levels. But as men, we have estrogen levels too. So if you have higher estrogen levels, you're more likely to retain additional fluid. If you have lower estrogen levels, you're not going to retain as much fluid. So I have some guys who have a cheat meal on, let's say, a Saturday. They send me their check-in on a Monday morning, and their weight hasn't even gone up at all. I even have some people that lose weight after a cheat meal because their metabolism is so fast and their testosterone levels are so high and their estrogen levels are so low. So it really depends on your gender, your genetics, whether you're training as a natural athlete or an enhanced athlete. Because a lot of people who are training enhanced on anabolic steroids, there's certain steroids that allow you to get rid of water faster, diuretics being one of them, which leads me to my next thing about the diuretics. I would not advise anyone to take diuretics, especially pharmaceutical grade diuretics, unless prescribed by a doctor. Okay. So even the natural diuretics, a lot of people think, oh, they're safe, they're natural. Not necessarily. If you don't need them, don't take them. Okay. So just because you're retaining some additional fluid from one meal doesn't mean that you should go take a bunch of natural diuretics to get rid of it. Will you get rid of the water faster? Probably, but you'll get rid of the water eventually if you just drink more water. And that's the one thing I tell to all my clients who are retaining water after a cheat meal. I say, drink more water. And a lot of them say, well, isn't that counterproductive? And I say, no, because your body is holding on to water. Your body is stressed out. So the only way for your body to get rid of that water is by drinking more water. And I promise you it works. I've done that with a lot of my clients who've trained for bodybuilding and fitness competitions over the years. 2 days out from a show, you can see they're retaining water and they're like, well, what should I do? Should I take a diuretic? I'm like, no, drink more water. And they're always shocked by that. They're like, what do you mean drink more water? We're 48 hours from a show. I'm like, drink more water. And what happens? They drink more water, they go to sleep, their body relaxes, it's hydrated, and it just gets rid of it, flushes out all that water. Okay, so your body's not stressed. So there are other reasons as to why your body would retain additional fluid from a cheat meal, one being the sodium. Usually if you're someone who follows a fairly clean diet, your sodium, I should say the sodium in your diet is not very high, right? So like myself personally, sometimes I even have to salt my foods because I notice that my sodium levels are quite low. So if you're someone who's not used to eating bowls of pasta full of like cheesy sauces or going out for pizza and burgers on a daily basis, like most of the population do, your body's become overly sensitive to sodium. So therefore, you're going to retain additional fluid because of that. It's not a bad thing, though. I know it feels uncomfortable, but it's not a bad thing. My recommendation, though, if you are going to have a cheat meal, you're noticing that this is happening a lot, is rather than take a diuretic, in addition to drinking lots of water, I would take a good digestive enzyme. And there's tons out there. I mean, you can get them on Amazon. So that's what I would do, because chances are it's not just your body is retaining water from the sodium, but also because your body doesn't really like that meal that came in. And I've used this analogy before. It's like if you have a really clean house and someone comes in and messes up that house, your body is now stressed from this one cheat meal. So honestly, it's something that there's not really much you can do about it, except, like I said, drink more water. But don't freak out if your body weight goes up, 4 or 5 pounds in 2 days, because if you go through the next 3 or 4 days and you drink lots of water, you get back on track with your diet, you'll notice by the time the next check-in comes around, like I'll have clients, like I said, do a check-in with me on, say, a Monday and Thursday or Tuesday and Friday. By the time we get to that second check-in and the cheat meal was 6 days ago, their weight's back down to normal. And in most cases, it's even gone down more if I have someone on a weight loss plan. If I have someone on a weight gaining plan, their weight has gone up stable, but in a way that we want it to go up with the muscle, not the fat. So don't freak out over weight gain over cheat meals. It's very common. And again, it's more common with women to put on 4 to 5 pounds after a cheat meal. Some guys too, but most guys 2-3 pounds max. And like I said, the weight comes off within 3 or 4 days. So it's just water weight. Don't stress out. Do not take a diuretic. Drink more water. I promise you it works. All right. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for this week's No Filter Q&A. So this episode will be going up on Tuesday, August the 29th. As a reminder, if you do have any questions related to your diet, your workouts, supplements you're taking, not taking, considering taking, please feel free to email me your questions at nick@foreverfitperformance.com, or you can DM me your questions on my Instagram at @fitcosgrove_. One more time, our Grizzly Grabbers are on sale this long weekend, September 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. From usually $45 to $40 a pair, or 2 pairs for $70 at $35 a pair. Email me, DM me, get me at the gym. If you're at the Burnaby gym, you can talk to Charlene or Michael. The Grabbers, we have so many Grabbers. So pick up your pair or pairs this long weekend. Thank you all for watching. Thank you guys for supporting the channel. Thank you for supporting my business. And I will see you all next week. Bye for now.